All right, you guys, I got another video for y'all today, and in this video we are going to go in depth on how to cut and some ways to style a crop top. And one of the first things that you want to do whenever you're cutting the top, especially with straight hair, is you want to wet the hair and make sure that it's evenly wet throughout. You don't want some dry pieces and some wet pieces, because that's going to mess up the consistency of how even your cut comes out. So right here you can see that I am starting on the top of his head, but more so to the right. And then you'll see I do another pass down the middle, and then I'll do another pass on the top left. But right here, I don't want to take a whole lot off. I just want to make it even and add a little bit of texture, which is why I'm point cutting. But he already has a lot of texture in his hair, just from the previous times that he's come to get a haircut with me. We've been working on this style for about a month now. So the past like two or three times that I've cut his hair, we've put a lot of texture in there. So really this is just kind of like maintenance work. And you can see that I combed all the hair to the direction that I was gonna, basically pass my comb. So I combed all the hair to the right, so that way the comb just kind of passes through easy when it's time to grab a section. You see how I just did there? I'll bring the hair to the right and then just lift it up. And you can see I'm trying not to go too far to the front, because if we go too far to the front, we're going to cut that corner bit right there, right where the recession is, and it's gonna kind of mess up the whole crop top look. It's gonna expose them. And we want all that to be nice and full. So we want the fringe to be nice and full in those corners. So you can see now, I'm doing the same thing, just going down the middle, pulling up a section, and just point cutting the ends, making sure that it's all even. I'm not too, meticulous about how I grab this section. I just want it to be at least probably like an inch wide. Nothing too crazy, just enough hair where I can still see the previous guide. Now you gotta be careful when you're point cutting like this, because it's very easy to cut your fingers. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but the still blade on my scissor is resting on my middle finger. And then the top blade is what's doing the cutting. That's the blade that's moving. So it's very important when you're doing point cutting like this that it's only your moving blade that's moving. Your still blade should be still when it comes to anytime you do scissor cuts, but especially when you're doing point cutting, because you can definitely you can cut your finger, and that sucks. So you see now we're moving to the right. So like I said, we will pass through the top on the left side, pass through down the middle, and then pass through on the right side. And I'm going a little slower just for the video's sake, but in the barber shop, this will take me a lot less time. Actually, in real time, if I was just doing this during the day, I probably wouldn't be starting from the back. I'd probably start from the front. The only reason I'm starting from the back is just for like educational purposes for you guys. But normally I'd probably start from like right there, that section that I'm grabbing right now, start from there and work my way to the back, just because it's a little easier. And right here, I just kind of want to pull everything to the side, and just whatever is hanging over, I'm gonna cut that. Because for a crop top, we don't want anything kind of hanging off the edge. We want to establish our boundaries, establish our perimeter, so that nothing goes beyond that perimeter, when his hair falls down. And the same thing on the other side. So you see, when we do this, it doesn't matter if his hair was 10 inches long on top, we're still stopping that hair from falling over to the side. So. And you can see how that's all blending in pretty nicely into the fade that's already there. Now what I'm trying to do is just very lightly trim the ends of the fringe. Nothing crazy. I mean, it's already pretty straight. Not too straight. We don't want it to be like solid like I lined it up with the trimmer. I still want it to be a little loose, have some movement to it, but I want it to be straight across. That way it gives it a nice like solid look in the front once we dry it. Because his hair is pretty fine, so you see now that it's wet, you can almost see through to the scalp. But once we dry it and we put some product in it, like a matte product in it, it's gonna look way thicker and it's gonna look a lot fuller. That's what I'd recommend. If you guys have clients that have like finer hair, when you wet it, you can see right through the scalp. Don't give them a product that's gonna come with a wet look. Give them something that's gonna come with a matte look or a dry look, because it's gonna make their hair look so much fuller. And the same principle that I said with keeping the steel blade on the thumb, that's what I was doing right there on his forehead so that I don't cut him. The steel blade just rests right on the forehead. And right here I'm doing a little bit of slice cutting. So I combed all the hair in the direction that I was gonna cut, kind of making, the hair almost ends up making lanes for my scissor to travel in. And then I just go through and kind of slice up some hair. I'm not really closing my shear at all. I'm maybe closing it just a little bit, maybe like 10%. Instead of 100% close, I'm closing it maybe like 10% of the way. But you see the slices that it's making through the hair, that's gonna make nice, piecey, like chunky texture in his hair, which is again going to add to the thickness. We don't want to go through and use the thinning shear on him because his hair is already really fine. If I use the thinning shear on him, he's going to look bald. So I need to find a way to do texturizing techniques that are going to work with his type of hair. Now, if this was somebody who had really thick hair, like Asian hair or something like that, then yeah, you could go through with the thinning shears and it'll be a much better way to texturize. But somebody with fine hair, you got to do different stuff. So right here, I'm using the blow dryer, and I find the best way to blow dry, in my opinion, regardless of the style that the person is getting, is to just blow dry with your fingers. I feel like it comes out a lot faster, and especially with his hairstyle, we're going for a textured look. Blow drying with the fingers is going to give you a very textured look already, a very lived in look, like somebody kind of, they just woke up out of bed or something like that, you know? It's gonna give, see the texture that's already in there? We didn't put no volumizing powder, we didn't do nothing special, it's just the way that it's cut. And right now I'm adding a matte paste. Actually, I think it's called like a matte cement or something like that. But I got this at the CT Barber Expo. They were just handing out free stuff. So I grabbed one of these and I really like the smell. So you can see the same way I blow dried the hair is the same way I'm putting product in. I'm starting from the back and I'm working my way toward the front. Most people start in the front, but in reality, most people have less hair in the front of their head than they do in the back of their heads. And it ends up just being product caked up in the front and nothing, you know, nothing else throughout the head. So you want to make sure that it's evenly distributed when you're putting product in, and start from the back. And you can see that my fingers right here, what I'm doing is just kind of twisting, taking little pieces and just twisting it up. That's one way that you can texturize the hair. Right here is a Jack Dean Pompadour comb. And you can see this kind of adds really cool texture. But I like the kind of messier look. So. But yeah, it's different ways to style this hair. I could just take a regular comb and comb it all forward if I wanted to, but I mean, that wouldn't really show off the texture. You can use the pompadour comb and kind of quickly make texture like that, or you can really go through and kind of break up the pieces with your fingers like I'm doing right here. All right, that was some cutting techniques and some styling techniques that you guys can use on a crop top. I hope you guys like the cut. If you do, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so y'all can get notified when I drop new videos. I'll see y'all next time.